Hi there, it's Clive here, and I'm back once again talking about, well, what else? Stadia, yes. And I am lit up like a Christmas tree. I've had Stadia now for about a month. I got it when it launched. No, I didn't get it on November the 19th, on the day of launch. I was one of those people that had to wait, 2 days. So it's literally been a month. I'm recording this almost a month to the day when I got my Google Stadia. So what we're going to be doing today is going to be talking about my experience with Google Stadia, how I found it, some of the updates we've had in that last month, and there's been a lot of them, some of the issues around it, but also where we think we're going next. So without further ado, let's get on with it. Overall, my experience, I've been playing Google Stadia for every day. I've played it every day. I've been either dropping into Destiny. I've played all the way through Tomb Raider again. I played it originally on the Xbox S, and now I've played it all the way back through again. I found the experience really cool. It looks amazing. The Tomb Raiders do look really good on Stadia. Most of my experience of how I compare the game to and what it looks like is really based on the Xbox S. So no, I don't have an Xbox X. And no, I don't have a £3,000 gaming computer. So my experience and opinion of what it looks like is based on my general console use, which is the Xbox S. And it is, in fairness, comparable, if not in some places on the Chromecast Ultra, better. Now, I'll admit, no, not every game is in 4K and 60 frames per second. But in reality, in order to play most games at that, even if they are available in both of those elements, 4K and 60 frames per second, you either need an Xbox X or a really top-of-the-range game computer. And even then, Destiny 2, for instance, only plays in 4K on the Xbox X, but in 30 frames per second. Whereas on Stadia, on the Chromecast Ultra, yes, it doesn't play in 4K, which is a bit disappointing, but it's rendered at 60 frames per second. And all the video, and that's the key thing, all the video sent to the Chromecast Ultra is in 4K 60 frames per second. So if the game can do that, it will be delivered in that way. Unfortunately, a lot of developers have decided to make choices, either deliver it in 4K, 30 frames per second, or maybe 1080p at 60 frames per second. So they've sort of made compromises. But we will see. I'm sure some of the games that we've got already will be enhanced over time and added to as people get used to porting games to the Stadia and developing directly for the Stadia. Obviously, initially, since it's launched, these games are basically not rushed ports, but they are sort of ports of the games. But as we all see, as sort of Stadia catches up with games that have already been released, and we start seeing games that are being released day and date with other consoles and platforms, I think we'll start seeing more enhanced versions of the games, and you will start getting that 4K 60 frames per second. But as far as I'm concerned, if it looks good, if it plays good, that's all that matters to me. And Stadia, on that basis, delivers. It looks great on the Chromecast Ultra. It's dead convenient. It looks, fine on my laptop or on my computer when I'm playing here. And that's the key thing. One thing I've really found about Google Stadia over this last 4 weeks is just the sheer convenience. It is so easy. Just pick up the controller, Stadia, go to stadia.com, boom, I'm straight in. I'm playing Destiny 2. Very minimal loading times. I did see a video somebody recorded the amount of time it takes to load up Destiny 2 on Stadia compared to loading it up, say, on a console. And the difference, might be I'm talking 20 or 30 seconds, but it's that level of difference sometimes make a massive impact on your sort of the convenience of the game. If I'm playing on the Chromecast Ultra on the big TV and somebody wants to watch something on the TV, fine. To transfer to the laptop, and my character is exactly left where I left them in the game. Probably dead because I've left them for 10 seconds, but they're there in the game. No loading up or anything like that. And the other great thing, of course, is that you don't really realize until you have Stadia. It's just the sheer convenience of no downloads. If I want to buy a game to play, I literally pay for the game and I play it straight away. There's a few games on the Xbox Games Pass that I'm interested in playing, and I have to sort of set the download off, go off and do something for half an hour, sometimes longer depending on the size of the game, and come back later. my son was playing Fortnite, and Fortnite had a massive update on the Xbox. And then he was moaning because he couldn't play it because it was taking so long for it to download. It's, probably half an hour to an hour to download. The experience on Stadia is completely different. Destiny 2 had a massive update recently, and Stadia players, boom, play it straight away. PC players and console players had to hang around waiting for it to download onto their systems before they could play it. And as I say, it's that convenience which I think Stadia works really well at and is great for those sort of casual gamers, maybe lapsed gamers. And I think that's the sort of market. People are sort of maybe into gaming or aren't sure about gaming, but not enough to justify buying a high-end console or a really expensive gaming PC. Or maybe they used to game, but life's taken them over a bit for whatever reasons. They're slightly older, got family commitments, etc. But now the convenience of Stadia just means to say, if you've got a controller, pick up and go. So that's my experience. And just to put it all in context, in my house, I'm getting between 50 to 60 megabits per second in terms of my internet speed. And my Wi-Fi, I would say, is reasonably busy, but not super busy. So I've played Stadia. I played through Destiny 2. I played Tomb Raider while my son is playing Fortnite on the Xbox S. And my daughter's watching TikTok or YouTube videos upstairs, and it's fine. I think if people started uploading YouTube videos at the same time and stuff like that, I might begin to see a bit of an impact. But that's the sort of traffic my Wi-Fi's getting, and though, as I say, the 50 to 60 megabits per second is the sort of speed that I'm getting into the house. And in my experience, it works for me. I can't guarantee that the experience for you is going to be the same, but for me, that's the experience that I ultimately get. Anyway, let's talk about the updates. So obviously, since its launch, we've had a lot more games added. It launched with 22 games, and now we've had another 4 games added, plus there's been an extra 2 games for the Pro subscribers, extra 2 free games, so that's really cool. They've also done some great discounts on some of these new games. So we've got Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon. I've got it down here, and they're great discounts for subscribers, pros on these. We've got Borderlands 3 with 35% off, Ghost Recon 50% off, Grid 60% off, Grid Ultimate Edition 60% off, Just Dance 40% off, and Shadow of the Tomb Raider 60% off. So some great deals for subscriber pros. I am thinking of either getting Borderlands 3, which I was contemplating getting for the Xbox, but now I think I'm going to get it for Stadia instead, or Grid. I haven't quite decided. Let me know what you think I should get out of those 2, but I'm certainly going to add to my collection. We've now also got achievements. They're available on the browser version and on the Chromecast Ultra, and all you need to do is you just basically go to your little friends icon, click on that, click on your name, and then you've got the achievements there, and then there's one with a little symbol with a little cup. Click on that, and then you've got all your achievements, which only really go to show how little I've actually done, even though I've completed the game, which is interesting, especially on Tomb Raider there. They've also made extra buddy pass available for founders, so now I've got 2 free buddy passes. I haven't decided who's going to get them yet, but that will be decided in the future, so that's really cool. I've got somebody sulking over there because they want one. I haven't decided yet whether they've been a good girl or not. Other news, Chromecast Ultras. If you're an existing Chromecast Ultra user, there's a firmware update for that, which now means that you can play on your Chromecast Ultra. You'll need the subscription Pro, but you just don't need to get the Founders Edition, I guess, for it. So that's really cool that they've done that. We're beginning to see some features that are only available on Stadia. So I mentioned they released Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon, and in that they've got Stream Connect, which basically means that if you're playing with one of your friends online, you can stream what they're seeing into the corner of your game. And because of the sort of the high quality of the game, if you tried to do that on your core system, on your PC or your console, it would take up too many resources and it's not really achievable. But because this is being rendered in the cloud, all they're doing is sending your buddy's stream into the corner of the screen for you, so you can do co-op play and see what your buddies are seeing. And that's a really little cool feature. It's only scratching at the surface of what Stadia can really do, and as games are developed specifically for Stadia, we'll see more and more of those features. Another one is in Grid. There's a 40-car sort of co-op race, which is massive really, but again, that's only achievable in the Stadia version because of cloud gaming. And as I say, this is only scratching the surface of what Stadia will be able to do. And as I said earlier, I'm sure we'll see a lot of games being enhanced, and we will see that 4K 60 frames per second on more and more games. I can guarantee that. Google have also recently bought Typhoon Studios. Typhoon Studios has been working on a game which is coming out in January, I believe, and I'm assuming it's going to come out on Stadia as well. It's coming out on the other consoles, called Journey to the Savage Planet. Google are going to be getting Typhoon Studios to develop games specifically for Stadia, and hopefully Journey to the Savage Planet will be ported to Stadia. It'd be interesting to see at what level it is ported, considering they've bought the studios. But on the basis it's only coming out in January, I don't necessarily know they've got enough time necessarily to do a really good port of it and give us true 4K 60 frames per second, but we'll see. Google Assistant is now available, the little button on the controller, so it works like Google Assistant generally. I'm not going to try it now because I've got 1,000,001 Google Assistants all around my house. So that's really good. You can browse the store now in the browser, which originally you had to do all your purchasing through the phone, but now you can purchase through the web browser. That's really good. The 4 games I mentioned, the new ones, were Borderlands 3, Darkside Genesis, which is exclusive to Stadia until February, Dragon Ball Xenoverse, and Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon, which I mentioned, which is the first title to use Stream Connect. So we're going to see more of those. So, as I say, lots and lots, and now Google are finally sort of trying to get their communication act together as well. And they're doing these regular updates, monthly updates, called Stadia Save Point, where they're going to summarize all their updates. Because I think what we found with their updates is some updates are just sort of happening in the background. And that's the nature of having a sort of a cloud console, as it were, is that little updates are rolled out and you might not even know about it. And they can continually reiterate, update things, and then instantly it's available to you. Whereas with a main console, you can't update things that readily. But I think because of the nature of cloud gaming, you see all these updates get rolled out on a regular basis, and sometimes they're enhanced and sometimes they're not. So achievements, a few people found that out before it was officially announced and stuff. So there's lots of stuff in the background of Stadia already there, ready to go, but they just haven't launched it. Going forward, looking into the future, we know we've got some great games coming out in future. We know we've got Cyberpunk, we've got Doom Eternal coming, we've got Watch Dogs Legions, we've got Gods and Monsters, which looks really interesting. So what we're beginning to see is as games come out on other platforms, they come out on Stadia at the same time. And that library that was so sort of mocked on Stadia's launch is going to grow month by month. And I think within 6 months' time, we're going to look back and we're going to forget about this sort of stumbled launch, and we're going to see games being launched regularly. We're going to see a lot of free games being given to pro subscribers, good discounts coming all the time and stuff like that. So overall, as I say, ultimately what I conclude is that I've played Stadia, as I said, every day since I've had it. I found the experience really enjoyable. I think it looks great. Am I doing a forensic analysis of it and comparing it to sort of a state-of-the-art, top-of-the-range gaming computer you might see on Linus Tips? No, I'm not. But I'm just basing it on my basic experience I have with my Xbox S. And it's, I still play my Xbox S. There are games on there that aren't on the Stadia that I like to play. I'm not dissing the Xbox S at all, whatever. I still like my Xbox S. I have decided not to get an Xbox X now. I'm going to stick with Stadia for a while. The plan was I'd get an Xbox X now on Xbox All Access so that I could automatically upgrade to Xbox Series X when it's launched December next year. But I'm going to wait and just stick with Stadia for a while, and then I'll make a decision when I'm going to get the Xbox Series X next year at all, or just stick with Stadia, because I think Stadia is going to continually enhance the platform, and we're going to see more and more exciting things, and we'll see more things actually playing in 4K 60 frames per second, and games that you can only do things on Stadia and nothing else. So we'll see. In a year's time, it'll be interesting to see exactly where we're at. But that's it. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you found it useful. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. We went past 1,000 subscribers, so a big thank you for everybody who has subscribed. I really appreciate it. It means a lot to me. It may not be PewDiePie 100 million subscribers, but to me it's something. You know, it's a little mini landmark. So I'm really pleased with that. Put your comments down below. I try to engage with people, and I will see you. Hopefully what we're going to be planning to do is more regular updates. So until such time, goodbye.